Hello, everybody. Welcome to Little Rusty Bucket. Subscribe to the channel and drop a like. We are trying to hit 20K subscribers, so it would be much appreciated if you would join the Little Rusty Buckets family. I am saying that sarcastically. Don't get parasocial with me here. The Warriors and the Houston Rockets just faced off for the first time, and man, what a game this was. I had a sneaking suspicion that this would be the best playoff series of the first round. It's really between them and the Clippers and Nuggets, and possibly the Pistons and Knicks. We shall see on that. But from the first two games, from the first 2 days, the Warriors-Rockets series and the Clippers versus Nuggets series easily has me the most intrigued. And this game, at least to me, was the best one of the playoffs thus far. This shit was a rock fight. And honestly, a rock fight is a term that people use all the time now just to mean that offense was bad. But this game straight up felt like it was like out of a time capsule. It was like, if you are an old head who doesn't like a lot of the stuff about like physicality or the pace of scoring and things like that, well, despite the fact that this is the Golden State Warriors and they're running small ball and Steph is taking 40-footers, other than Steph Curry, everyone in this fucking game is playing like it's the 2000s, like especially the Houston Rockets. Draymond Green at the center position, obviously he's undersized, but the fact that he's basically completely inept as a scorer makes it kind of similar to a center back then. Steph and Jimmy, just that duo carrying as much offensively as they did, because in this game they would score 56 points combined, both of them being really efficient. Steph shot fucking 63%, and he hit 5 3-pointers, and each one more ridiculous than the other. He also did a bunch of great work inside. He had a crazy step-in floater around Fred VanVleet. He had a couple of different drives in the first half. In fact, him getting in the paint was basically the only thing the Warriors had going for them in the first quarter. But the threes that he was hitting in this game, I felt like secondhand anger. And you see the jersey behind me. Stephen Curry, I think he's my favorite player of all time. I've been wrestling with that for quite a bit now, between whether it's him or Kobe. Kobe just has the huge advantage of being there when I was a very young kid. But Steph, I've been watching not his entire career, basically since 2015. I'll be honest, I was not watching the 2012 Golden State Warriors when I first started watching basketball. But Steph has been my favorite player since then, and I have been enjoying his career this whole time. I enjoy his play style, and I will cape for him any day of the week. But just for a moment, when he hit a fading 3 out of bounds in the fourth quarter, and this, mind you, is after Houston has done a bang-up job defending the whole possession and has been for multiple possessions in a row. He bails them out by hitting a fadeaway three-pointer. There's 2 different thumbnails that I made for this. Whichever one it is, it's that shot. One of them I just left like very blurry, just the vague impression of Curry and Jalen Green contesting him. I hope that one does well because I like it. It's artsy. But Jesus, my blood didn't boil because I was like, yeah, that's Steph. I love when he does that. But just for a moment, I felt like a Rockets fan, and I was like, oh my God, I fucking hate this man. I can't imagine the amount of hatred that I would have in my heart for Stephen Curry if I was a Rockets fan, because it's not just that he's great against you. It's not just that he beats you pretty much whenever he seems to want to. It's the way he does it. Because Stephen Curry beats you in a way that is so undeniable. He will do some ridiculous shit, hit some shots that don't even make any sense. Like that fadeaway 3 that he hit out of bounds. That's about as ridiculous of a shot as I can imagine. And it's like most NBA players, like 99% of NBA players, that 3-point shot from Steph would be the best, most impressive shot they made in their entire career. And for Steph, it's just another day of the fucking week. So it's not like he's a free throw merchant. It's not like he, I don't know, grifts or like, it's like, oh, he's just a run and dunk guy. No, he is just that fucking guy. He is just going to hit shots on you no matter what you do. Houston is a great defense. And aside from how they guarded Steph and Jimmy, which I don't even think they did a bad job necessarily, this shit just happened anyways. But aside from how they did that, they played amazing defense almost all of this game. The Warriors had some times where they went on a run, but that was primarily due to these star players. And, God, to put up such a great defensive effort, like I'm telling you, one of the best defensive efforts I think I've ever seen, at least in the 2020s, I should say. Just for Steph to go 12 for 19, for him to hit the threes anyway, for him to be pulling up from fucking 40 feet when the shot clock is about to expire, because an open 40-footer is better for him than a contested 30-footer. Just ridiculous shit. I would be so upset. The other thing, I'm going to highlight this more in the recap. I'm going to use a bunch of examples, but Stephen Curry's defense, I don't mean this hyperbolically. His defense was probably the reason the Warriors won this game. And I don't mean that he was the best defender, the most impactful defender. Not by any means, or at least not most impactful in terms of just having the most positive plays on the defensive end. That's not the case. Obviously, it's Draymond Green. It's partially Jimmy Butler, a good bit Gary Payton II as well. He got a lot of minutes in this one because of how he was playing defense. And I know he's not a great defender. However, you're only as strong, your defense is only as strong as your weakest link, and the Warriors' weakest link locked the fuck in this entire game. Like, he had a possession where Şengün posted up on him, and he held him basically out of the paint. He shot his floater from the fucking free throw line, and he contested it well enough. He made Dillon Brooks pick up the ball on the post. They didn't even fucking try that shit after that possession because it resulted in a bad shot and an easy fast break for the Golden State Warriors. There was a couple of possessions that he switched on to Jalen Green and did a good job. Like, across the board, Steph Curry played great defense this whole game. And again, I'm probably going to highlight that exclusively in the first quarter just because I have to glaze him after this game. But like, Steph has this reputation of being a terrible defender. He's not. He's the worst one in the starting lineup. That sucks, but it does not mean that he is a bad defender. And Houston, not that they're particularly adept at mismatch hunting, although they did literally run an inverted pick and roll with Şengün in order to get that Steph matchup, just for Şengün to miss the shot anyways. But he's doing his job, and that means that Houston has to score on their own merit, and that's the problem, right? Houston's half-court offense. That's the thing that is worrisome. That's the thing that is the reason that they would lose this series if they do, which, by the way, I didn't mention this. I meant to mention this up top. I have a lot of thoughts on this series. I do not have a definitive pick, and I'm not going to say it's the Warriors just because of this game, even if it definitely reinforces a lot of my positive thoughts on it. The Rockets definitely had an avenue to win this game, and I think they just kind of blew it in the end because their offense was terrible. 34 points, I think it was, in the first half, which is the lowest amount scored in the NBA this entire season. But their defense was so fucking good that it kept them in it well enough. And towards the tail end of the third quarter, and especially at the start of the fourth quarter, they started playing ultra small ball. In fact, they ran a lineup that I loved, that I thought was a great idea. And they swapped Jalen Green and Fred VanVleet for each other at different points, but regardless of who was at the point guard position, the lineup otherwise was Amen Thompson at the 2, Jabari Smith at the 3, and then Şengün at the 4, Adams at the 5. So you have two centers, a power forward playing small forward, and a small forward playing shooting guard. Honestly, probably a power forward to most teams playing shooting guard. And then on top of that, when they had Jalen Green at the point guard position, I don't think Jalen Green played bad defense too many times in this game, although one of those Steph threes he was responsible for because he completely misunderstood if he was supposed to switch or not. But he's 6'5", so we're talking 6'5", 6'8" to 6'9" for Amen Thompson, I want to say, plus his verticality and his wingspan making him play effectively much taller than he is. Amen Thompson is a much better rim protector than I think, most 7-footers in the NBA. I think that's true, at least in terms of just purely verticality and ability to contest shots. So you have basically ostensibly the equivalent of like 4 6'10" guys out there. Again, we know Amen's a little shorter than that, but he plays bigger. That was devastating for the Warriors because the Warriors are all about small ball. Like, they have leaned fully into the small ball because, let's be honest, Kevon Looney is not supposed to play 20-plus minutes per game in a playoff game in 2025. So they don't have a real center option. They have to go with Draymond Green. And the thing is, Draymond Green is so good at playing bigger than he is, and at 6'6", he has a huge mismatch, obviously, but he protects the hell out of the rim. Even now, his athleticism is not what it was earlier on in his career, and he still protects the rim super well. I think he blocked a Amen Thompson dunk. It might have been a miss just because Amen jumped from too far, but whatever. The problem with that is so many possessions he would stop the Rockets at the rim on a shot, but because of the momentum of his contest, he was then out of the play, and then someone got an offensive rebound, and no one else on the floor was really capable of preventing that from happening. Like, Jimmy Butler is really the only guy you give any chance of really out physicaling a big man because Moses Moody's not going to do it, Steph's not going to do it, and Pods is not going to do it. So there were multiple possessions. I don't even know what the offensive rebound disparity is based on the stats. I'm going to look at the stat right now, but I will tell you it's fucking nuts. Offensive rebounds, Houston, 22. 5 from Steven Adams in 20 minutes. 6 from Amen Thompson. 6? I don't know. He had. God damn, Amen. For the Golden State Warriors, they had 6 offensive rebounds. So Houston took 11 more shots than the Golden State Warriors did in this game. That was what was the winning formula, and then suddenly Houston subs in their starters. Dylan Brooks, who really wasn't good, really. I mean, he was fine. Like, he was still good defensively, of course, but, like, he was not contributing well offensively. Checked him in, checked Jalen Green in. Jalen Green finished this game 3 for 15, and I'll tell you what, he didn't fucking hit a shot in the 3-minute stretch he played in the fourth. In fact, he took a mid-range pull-up that I'm just like, I know your offense is rough, Houston, but you have to know that the Warriors are just so okay with you taking that shot. And, like, it was early into the shot clock. He took this shot, and I was just baffled by it. This year, on 10 to 16-foot mid-range shots, he shoots 29.8%. That's like 10% worse than league average. And 37.1% from long two is like 5% below league average. Like, you're still terrible on the long twos. The short twos you're terrible on. Like, this is a bad fucking shot. I was baffled. Like, I do not know why you would go away from what was working for you. I do understand that Adams can only play so many minutes because he gets tired. I think he's somewhat of an injury risk as well. However, he's a +4. Nobody else has a positive plus-minus that played for Houston. They need to play him at least 25 minutes. And if you can't do that at the very bare minimum, you need to close with him. Close with Steven Adams, absolutely. And you know what? Jalen Green was fucking awful in this game. He didn't play a large stretch of the fourth quarter, and that is when Houston went on their run, and then all the momentum went back to the Warriors as soon as he checked in. I don't know if he should play that much in this series. You give him another chance, absolutely, but not a good game from Jalen Green. Good enough defense, didn't take too many shots that were that offensive, but at the end of the day, he was fucking awful, and I think you could do better. Also, Fred VanVleet, man, you are not him. You are not Stephen Curry. I know your team is destitute in the three-point shooting category, but that does not excuse taking 4 Curry range shots per game like that's something you should be doing. I think he hit one of them in this game. I don't care. Don't do that shit. Awful. Awful, awful. You'd be better off just letting Şengün take another hook shot because he was fucking money on those all game. I will not be doing after the buzzer reactions to the other games of the day. Unfortunately, don't really have the time to do it as much as I would love to, so I apologize for that. But yeah, you got this one. Wow. What a game. What a game. This series is going to be special, and though the Warriors won in a really convincing fashion by taking over in the fourth quarter the way that they did, this series is far from over.